And we are back on the Zero Hour. I'm Richard RJ Eskow. And you know, we talk a lot on this program about presidential politics, about congressional politics, but we don't talk about the next wave of Elizabeth Warren Democrats coming up around the country nearly enough. We don't talk about the new players that will hopefully be transforming politics in the years and decades to come. We want to change that starting now by looking at some of the individual races around the country, congressional and otherwise, and some of the candidates that might be of interest. And our first candidate we're going to take a look at, she's on the line with us now, is Joseline Peña-Melnyk. She currently represents the 21st District in Maryland's House of Delegates. She came to this country and as an immigrant and has achieved sensationally here. She is running for Congress now in the 4th Maryland District to replace Donna Edwards, a great progressive favorite who is running now for the United States Senate. And Joseline Peña-Melnyk joins us now. Joseline, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me. Good afternoon.
Oh, good afternoon. And are you weathering this storm that we're facing here in the D.C., Maryland area all right?
I am. Staying pretty active. It's been a great day, getting a lot done.
Good. Okay. And do I understand correctly that you are an attorney?
I am.
Well, so is my Joseline. For those who don't know, my daughter Joseline has the same name as you and the same career as you. She is an attorney. Now, you served in the United States Attorney's Office, and then you went into politics. How long have you been in politics?
I was city councilwoman in College Park for 3 years, and then I have been a Maryland legislator for the last 9. Since 2006, got elected in 2007. So a total of almost 12 years.
Oh, good. Okay. And then you're running in the 4th Maryland District. What does that cover? What are we looking at? What geography?
You're looking at 2 counties, which is Prince George's County and Anne Arundel County. So it's basically all the way from southern Prince George's County to Pasadena, Severna Park, Anne Arundel County. It's a pretty big district, almost 900,000 people.
And you would be running to replace Donna Edwards, who has done a terrific job there. Why would you say that you are the person to replace her? You've got a number of candidates running in that district. Why are you the one?
Well, I would say that I'm the one because I work harder than any of them. I know them all. I have been a delegate now for 9 years, and as a delegate for 9 years, I represented District 21, which is both Prince George's and Anne Arundel County. I'm the only one of everyone that is running that has represented both county, so I know them really well. I know the district well. My husband and I lived in Prince George's County, which is the majority of the district. And we have 3 kids that attend the local public school here, the high school. We're middle-class people, most of the district, trying to make ends meet. And I have a solid record legislatively of passing over 50 bills that have been, in a very humble way, bills that people respect and have been in the news. So I can pass bills, but most importantly, when I'm not in the legislature, I'm in the district. You will find me in a hospital. I go to a nursing home if I have to do that. I go with a kid to school to help them fill out their application. None of them have that commitment, that love to service that I have. I know that for a fact.
We're talking to Joseline Peña-Melnyk, who is running for Congress in the 4th Maryland District. So what do you think are the big issues that are facing your constituents now? And then we'll talk about the country as a whole. But what do you think is on their mind that they want to see their congressional representative addressing?
You know, we have held a lot of meet and greets in different neighborhoods. And as I speak to people in different living rooms, the issues are really the same. Number one issue for people in my district is education. We need to make sure that our public schools are strong. We want to make sure that, kids are ready when they graduate and then when they go to college. And people want to make sure that their kids don't graduate with an enormous amount of debt. And they also worry about transportation, our roads, as well as health care. Those are the issues that they care about, being able to put food on their table, being able to provide for their families. Those are the issues that they care, and it's the same issue everywhere I go, from southern Prince George's County all the way to Anne Arundel County, Pasadena, Severna Park.
So, how did you find your way to this, Joseline Peña-Melnyk, to this district? Tell us a little bit about yourself and your life's journey.
Well, I came to the United States when I was 8 years old with my mom. My mom and I and my sister came from Dominican Republic. We actually landed in New York City, lived in Washington Heights. For those of you that are from New York, Washington Heights is what's called Dominican land, a lot of Dominicans. And my mom was a single mom with my sister and I. She, did not know English. She was on welfare for a while, receiving food stamps. I used to go to the welfare office with her and used to translate for her and for the rest of the neighborhood, because a lot of people didn't speak English. So I knew everyone's business. My sister and I saw her struggle. She got off welfare, but while she was on welfare, they allow her to take a training to learn how to sew. So she used to work in the garment industry for a little while. She had held many different jobs in different factories. So I knew what the struggles, and she was given sometimes 15 minutes to eat her meals. And I told myself I, did not want that life. I wanted to do better, and I wanted to help her. And I basically listened to her. She will always say, look, when I die, I'm not going to leave you anything. I'm going to, leave you an education. I don't have anything to leave you. And she passed 7 years ago, and she saw me. It was actually the first year after I was elected in the legislature. And I saw her struggle. Her struggles is what, fuels me, what inspires me. I decided to go to college and then go to law school. But I always have had a love for service, a love of providing and helping my community. And it's what I done as a public defender, later on as a prosecutor with Eric Holder, and then later on as a councilwoman here in the city that I live, worrying about local issues.
So, Joseline Peña-Melnyk, what made you decide to become a lawyer?
My mom used to call me la abogadita, the little lawyer. From the minute, I arrived here, she would take me to the different government offices to translate for her. And then while we waited, they would say, hey, is there anyone that speaks English? And, I didn't speak as well as I do now, right? There's a lot of room for improvement. I learn every day, as my kids like to correct me. But I used to translate for them. And I always wanted to help people solve problems. And I knew from when I was very young that I wanted to be a lawyer. And when I went to law school, I remember one of my first summers, I traveled to, I believe it was Ohio, worked with advocates for basic legal equality, representing migrant farm workers. And then my second summer, I traveled to Alabama, and I worked with helping write the appeals for inmates on death row. So I have always been motivated to serve. It's what I like to do.
So, well, if it makes you feel any better, Joseline Peña-Melnyk, it doesn't matter what your linguistic or cultural background is. Your children will always correct you about something. So, be rest assured there. So, you got the endorsement of the Progressive Congressional Change Committee. Is that right?
I did, which is such a blessing. I feel extremely lucky to have the PCCC, Democracy for America, to have their support, because they really have helped me. They have given me the support that I need. Running a grassroots campaign is very difficult. It's difficult to raise funds and to sometimes get in the door. And they have such a great reputation that, you just mentioned them, and people are impressed by the work they do. They really care about the middle class people, about working people. And those are my values. And I certainly am very grateful for that endorsement.
How do you think, why do you think, with so many candidates running in your district, why do you think they picked you?
I want to believe that it's, because I'm the most progressive out of everyone that's running. Some of the people that are running, you will see their background. They have worked for private law firms, working for big corporations. A lot of people that are running represent, the big companies. I have worked in my entire career it does show that I have worked for the very poor and middle class people. Every piece of legislation that I have either co-sponsor or introduced is for the working middle class people. I have co-sponsor and voted for to increase the minimum wage in Maryland. I also co-sponsor and got up on the floor in support of the DREAM Act as well. I actually voted and co-sponsor to repeal the death penalty. Okay. I voted for the driver's license for undocumented. I defended on the floor last year the bill that says that you should not discriminate against transgender individuals when they're looking for housing, employment, or when they're applying for credit, because data shows that that particular community is discriminated and they're very vulnerable. I defended that bill for 4 hours and 52 minutes on the floor. I'm also someone that ran 9 years ago against 2 tickets. I wasn't the choice of the party, so I ran with my own funds, people in the community that supported me and wrote checks when no one would endorse me. The only endorsement I have 9 years ago was the Sierra Club for my work in the community as a councilwoman, and then the Washington Post, the Gazette, the Lower Lido, and the Capital News endorsed me, but no one else would endorse me. For 9 years, I have supported and voted with labor, solid record, and I believe that that is why they endorsed me. Those are my values, and those are theirs as well.
Well, they say you're part of the Elizabeth Warren wing of the Democratic Party. What does that phrase mean to you?
That phrase means that I'm part of a movement and people that value the importance of protecting the middle class, the importance of rebuilding America's middle class, the importance of, fighting big corporation and closing tax, loopholes, the importance of investing in our infrastructure and rebuilding this country and worrying about the little people and not so much the rich people.
Okay, last question for you, Joseline Peña-Melnyk. Your district is a very strong, heavily majority Democrat, so the winner of this primary is probably going to the House of Representatives. If you go to the House of Representatives, you may have heard that the Republicans there are a little uncooperative and maybe a little extreme in their rhetoric and their views. How would you be able to deal with that? Because I have to be honest with you, I might have a hard time with it personally. So how would you deal with that?
I think I would do it very well. I think my record shows that I work really well across the aisle. I have my legislation, my bills have been supported both by Republicans and Democrats. My bills and my accomplishments show that I can bring people to the table. I do that very well, whether you're against something or you're not. I'll kiss your ring if I have to. I'm not proud. I like to get things done. I work hard, really hard, and I get that from my mom. And also, in addition, I love to be able to have a great office in Anne Arundel and Prince George's, where we can give good service to the community. When people are trying to find a doctor that accepts Medicare or Medicaid, they call our office. When a kid is trying to get into college and they need a letter of reference, and when someone has applied for Social Security and they just need you to be that liaison to help them work the government. I mean, those are the kind of services that we do. So I believe that I will be extremely I would say active and effective And I get along well with people as well. I don't take myself too seriously. You know, life is too short, and I like to live a meaningful life, but I love what I do, and I love to be able to represent this district. They need a good advocate, someone that will be willing to stand up to leadership and speak, and someone who's not going to be afraid of, hey, if I vote this way, I'm not going to be elected again. I have never done that. You know, I feel like if you vote for me, fine. If you don't, that's okay. But I'm going to give this my best. And I am in this more than 100%, giving it my best.
Well, good. Unfortunately, we're going to have to leave it there. But first of all, thanks to your son Camilo for being our technical expert so we could get connected today. And secondly, thanks to you, Joseline Peña-Melnyk, for a candidate for Congress in the Democratic primary, 4th District, Maryland. Thanks for coming on the program.
Thank you for having me. You have a great weekend. Stay warm.
You too. And stay dry. We will be right back after this. I'm Richard RJ Eskow, and this is The Zero Hour.